The stars looked the same as always. Captain Ji-won stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride, watching the endless darkness through the main screen. His ship moved quietly through space at the edge of human territory. This was supposed to be a normal patrol. Nothing ever happened out here. Lieutenant Minho sat at his sensor station, checking the same empty readings he had seen for weeks. The young officer was good at his job, but he looked bored. Space patrol was not exciting work. Most days they just flew around and checked that everything was quiet. "Captain," Minho said suddenly. His voice was different now, alert. "I'm getting something strange on long-range sensors." Ji-won walked over to look at Minho's screen. "What do you see?" "Multiple contacts, sir. Very large. They're still far away, but they're heading this way." Minho's fingers moved quickly over his controls. "Sir, there are a lot of them, more than I can count." The bridge became quiet. Everyone stopped what they were doing. In 3 years of patrol, they had never seen anything like this. "How many?" Ji-won asked. "At least 200 ships, sir. Maybe more. They're big, much bigger than us." Ji-won felt his heart beat faster, but he kept his face calm. His crew was watching him. A good captain never showed fear. "Distance?" 6 hours away at their current speed. Far away in space, Fleet Commander Thexara stood in the command center of his flagship. The alien was tall and thin, with 4 arms, and skin like dark metal. His ship was huge, bigger than a human city. Around him, his officers worked at strange controls that glowed with blue light. "What do we have?" Thexara asked his sensor officer. "One small vessel, Commander. Primitive design. Very weak energy signature. It appears to be alone." Thexara's mouth opened in what humans might think was a smile, but his teeth were sharp, like knives. "Excellent. Another easy conquest for the Empire." The Velkan Empire had been growing for hundreds of years. They had conquered 47 different species. Most gave up without a fight when they saw the size of the Velkan fleet. The few that fought back were destroyed quickly. "Any signs of a larger fleet nearby?" Thexara asked. "No, Commander. Our sensors show nothing else in this area of space. This appears to be a lone scout ship." "Perfect. We will capture it and learn about this new species. Then we will find their homeworld and add them to the Empire." Back on the Soul's Pride, Commander Seung-hyun joined Ji-won at the sensor station. Seung-hyun was the tactical officer, a smart woman who knew everything about space combat. "Captain, I've run the numbers," she said quietly. "If those are warships, we're in serious trouble. 200 against 1 is not good odds." "Any chance they're friendly?" Ji-won asked. "Unknown, sir. But ships that size don't usually travel in groups unless they're looking for a fight." Communications Officer Yuna looked up from her station. "Captain, should I send a message to Earth Command?" Ji-won thought about this. Earth was far away. Even with their fastest ships, help would take weeks to arrive. "Not yet. Let's see what they want first." Engineer Dong-yuk's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Captain, I'm seeing some unusual readings down here. Should I bring the reactor to full power?" "Not yet, Dong-yuk, but be ready." Ji-won walked back to his captain's chair. His crew was good. They had trained together for 2 years. Each person knew their job perfectly, but they had never faced anything like this. The Soul's Pride was a destroyer, designed for fast attacks and patrol work. It was not built to fight. Large fleets. The ship had good weapons and strong armor, but it was still just one ship. "Minho, what can you tell me about their technology?" Ji-won asked. "It's different from ours, sir. They use energy weapons, and their ships have some kind of shield system. Their hulls are made of materials I don't recognize. Any weaknesses? Hard to say, sir, but their ships are very large. That usually means they're not very fast. Weapons. Officer Tae-hyung spoke up from his station. Captain, our weapons are ready, but against that many ships... I know, Tae-hyung. Just keep them ready. On the alien flagship, war leader Kex Don studied the human ship. He was Thexara's second-in-command, a veteran of many battles. The vessel is very small, he reported. Their weapons appear to be simple, ballistic systems. No energy shields detected. Their technology level seems hundreds of years behind ours. Ballistic weapons? Thexara laughed. Do they still throw rocks at their enemies? It appears so, Commander. This should be over very quickly. Fleet Tactician Velmore joined the discussion. Commander, perhaps we should capture some of them. Alive. It would be useful to learn about their species before we conquer them. Agreed. Order the fleet to surround them. We will give them one chance to surrender. The alien fleet began to spread out, forming a huge circle around the human ship. Each alien vessel was 3 times larger than the Soul's Pride. Their hulls were dark and covered with weapon ports. Strange energy fields flickered around them like protective bubbles. Captain, Navigator Hosiak called out. They're surrounding us. We're completely trapped. Jiwon looked at the tactical display. Red dots showed enemy ships in every direction. There was nowhere to run. Sir, Yuna said, I'm receiving a transmission from them. Put it on speaker. The bridge filled with a strange, harsh voice. The words were translated by the ship's computer, but they still sounded alien and threatening. Small vessel this is. Fleet Commander Thexara of the Velkan Empire. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded. Resist, and you will be destroyed. The bridge was silent. Everyone looked at their captain. Jiwon stood up slowly. He thought about his crew, his ship, and his duty to Earth. He thought about his family back home. Then he made his decision. Yuna, open a channel. Channel open, sir. This is Captain Jiwon of the Earth Defense Force ship Soul's Pride. We are on a peaceful mission in our own territory. State your intentions. The alien voice came back quickly. Your territory? This space belongs to the Velkan Empire now. You have 1 minute to lower your weapons and prepare for boarding. This is your only warning. Jiwon looked around his bridge. His crew was scared, but they were ready to fight. They trusted him to make the right choice. Yuna, send a coded message to Earth Command. Tell them we have made contact with a hostile alien fleet. Include our position and all sensor data. Yes, sir. Sung-hyun, what are our options? Limited, sir. We can't outrun them. We can't hide. We can fight, but the odds are terrible. Dong-yuk, how long to bring the reactor to full power? 30 seconds, sir. Do it. All stations, prepare for combat. This is not a drill. The Soul's Pride began to hum with energy as its reactor came online. Weapon systems activated. Defense screens flickered to life. The crew moved with quiet efficiency, each person focused on their job. On the alien flagship, Thexara watched the human ship's energy levels rise. They're powering weapons, Kextan reported. Shall we destroy them? Not yet. Let them make the first move. It will make our victory look more justified to the Empire. Thexara smiled his knife-tooth smile. He had done this many times before. The small ship would fire a few harmless shots, then surrender when they realized how hopeless their situation was. It was always the same. But this time, Thexara was wrong. This time, he was facing humans, and humans never gave up without a Fight. The minute passed slowly. On the bridge of the Soul's Pride, Captain G1 watched the countdown timer on his screen. 50 seconds, 40, 30. His crew waited for orders. "Captain," Yuna said, "the aliens are transmitting again. Put it through." The harsh alien voice filled the bridge once more. "Your time is up, human vessel. You have chosen to resist. This is unfortunate, but not unexpected. Primitive species often make foolish decisions." G1 pressed the communication button. "Fleet Commander Thexara, I am requesting more time to contact my government. This is a serious situation that requires careful consideration." On the alien flagship, Thexara's officers gathered around him. They listened to the human captain's words with amusement. "He wants to contact his government," War Leader Kextan said. "How typical. They always beg for more time when they realize they cannot win." "Fear makes all species act the same way," added fleet tactician Velmore. "First, they try to negotiate, then they beg. Finally, they surrender." Thexara nodded. In his long career, he had seen this pattern repeat itself dozens of times. Different species, different languages, but always the same result. The strong conquered the weak. It was the natural order of the universe. "Very well, human," Thexara transmitted. "You have 15 minutes to contact your leaders. Use this time wisely. Surrender is your only option." The communication ended. G1 turned to his crew. 15 minutes, he said. "Yuna, did our message get through to Earth Command?" "Yes, sir. Message transmitted and confirmed. But even with quantum communication, it will take hours for them to respond." "Good. At least, Earth will know what happened here." G1 looked at each of his officers. "I know this looks bad, but we have a job to do. We are the Earth Defense Force. We protect human space." Commander Sung-Yun pulled up tactical displays on her screen. "Captain, I've been studying their formation. They're using standard encirclement tactics, very predictable." "What does that tell us?" "They're confident. Too confident, maybe. They think this will be easy." Weapons Officer Tae-hyung checked his systems one more time. "Sir, all weapons are loaded and ready. Point defense systems are online. We have full ammunition." "What kind of ammunition?" Ji-won asked. "Standard tungsten penetrators for the main. Guns. Cluster rounds for close defense. And, sir," Tae-hyung paused, "we still have those new experimental rounds from the weapons test." Ji-won remembered. The Soul's Pride had been testing new ammunition types before this patrol mission. High velocity, penetrator rounds designed to punch through heavy armor. "How many experimental rounds?" 12, sir, but they're untested in real combat." "Noted. Keep them ready." Engineer Dong-hyuk's voice came through the ship's communication system. "Captain, all systems are running at maximum efficiency. Reactor is stable. Drive systems are ready for emergency acceleration." "Emergency acceleration?" Ji-won asked. "Yes, sir. We can push the engines past normal limits if needed. It will be hard on the crew, but we can do it." On the alien flagship, the Velkin officers continued their discussion. "Commander," said sensor specialist Kex-2, "I am detecting unusual energy patterns from the human ship. Their reactor design is different from anything we have seen before." "Different how?" Thexara asked. "It appears to be some kind of fusion system, but more advanced than our records show for primitive species, and their engine signatures are strange." War Leader Kextan waved a dismissive hand. "It does not matter. Advanced engines cannot save them from our weapons." "Still," Velmore said, "we should be cautious." Unknown technology can be unpredictable. Thexara considered this. His fleet had conquered many species, but each one had taught him something new. Overconfidence was dangerous, even against primitive enemies. "Order the fleet to maintain current distance," he commanded. "We will observe them for a few more minutes before attacking." Back on the Soul's Pride, systems specialist Jungkook was running deep scans of the alien ships. "Captain," he reported, "I'm getting detailed readings on their technology now. Their ships use energy shields powered by some kind of exotic matter reactor. Very powerful, but they have a specific frequency signature." "What does that mean for us?" Jiwon asked. "Our weapons might not work the way we expect, sir. Energy shields can deflect certain types of attacks." "What about kinetic attacks? Physical projectiles?" Jungkook paused, thinking. "Unknown, sir. Most species use energy weapons. I don't think their shields are designed to stop solid objects." Commander Sung-yun looked up from her tactical station. "Captain, that's interesting. Most of our weapons are kinetic. Railguns, mass drivers, projectile systems. Because humans learned to fight other humans first," Jiwon said. "We built our weapons to work against human technology." Navigator Hoseok had been quietly plotting courses on his navigation system. "Sir, I've found something. Their formation has a weak spot. Show me." Hoseok transferred his display to the main screen. The alien fleet looked like a perfect sphere around the human ship, but there were small gaps between the vessels. "Here, here, and here," Hoseok pointed. "If we move fast enough, we might be able to break through their line." "How fast would we need to go?" "Very fast, sir. Past the safe limits for human crews." Jiwon thought about this. His crew was young and strong. They could handle high acceleration for a short time, but it would be dangerous. "How long until their 15 minutes are up?" he asked. 8 minutes, sir," Yuna replied. "Dong-yuk, if we need to break through their formation, how much acceleration can the crew handle?" "Standard human limits are about 10 Gs for short periods, but in emergency situations, we can survive more. Maybe 15 Gs for a minute or two." "And the ship?" "The ship can handle much more than the crew can, sir. The hull and engines are designed for extreme stress." Lieutenant Minho was monitoring alien communications. "Captain, I'm picking up transmissions between their ships. They're discussing attack patterns." "Can you understand what they're saying?" "Some of it, sir. The translation computer is learning their language. They're planning to disable our engines first, then board us." "They want prisoners," Sung-yun said. "That might work in our favor. They won't use their heaviest weapons right away." Ji-won walked to the center of the bridge. His crew looked at him with trust and determination. They were scared, but they were ready to follow his orders. "Listen carefully, everyone," he said. "We are about to face the biggest challenge of our lives. This alien fleet has probably conquered many other species. They think we will be easy to defeat." He paused, looking at each person on the bridge. "They are wrong. We are humans. We don't give up. We don't surrender. And we protect our own." The crew nodded. Their fear was still there, but it was mixed with something else now. Pride. Determination. "Yuna, prepare to transmit our response to the aliens." "Ready, sir." "Taehyung, charge. All weapons. Full power." "Yes, sir." "Hoseok, plot a course through their formation. Best speed." "Course plotted, sir." "Seung-hyun, activate all defensive systems. If we're going to fight, we fight smart." "All systems active, sir." On the alien flagship, Thexara was growing impatient. "How much time remains?" 3 minutes, Commander, reported Kexdan. "Good. Prepare the boarding parties. I want live prisoners for questioning." The alien fleet began to move closer. Massive ships with dark hulls and glowing weapons moved through space like predators closing in on prey. "Captain," Minho said urgently, "they're moving into attack position." Jiwan sat down in his captain's chair. "Yuna, open a channel to the alien fleet." "Channel open, sir. Fleet Commander Thexara. This is Captain Jiwan. I have contacted my government. Their response is clear." Jiwan paused for dramatic effect. "Earth does not negotiate with invaders. Earth does not surrender to threats. If you want a fight, you will have one." The bridge was silent. Even the alien ships seemed to pause. Then Thexara's voice came back, filled with anger and disbelief. "You dare to threaten the Velkan Empire? You are one small ship against 200. This is madness." "No," Jiwan replied calmly. "This is humanity." He cut the communication and turned to his crew. "All hands, prepare for combat. This is Captain Jiwan. We are Earth's defenders. Today, we show the galaxy what that means." Fleet Commander Thexara stared at the communication display in disbelief. In all his years of conquest, no species had ever spoken to him with such confidence. The human captain's words echoed in his mind. "This is humanity." "Impossible, war leader," Kexdan said. "One ship cannot fight our entire fleet. They are bluffing." "Or insane," added fleet tactician Velmore. "Some species choose death over surrender. It makes no logical sense, but it happens." Thexara's 4 arms moved over his command controls. Around him, the bridge of his flagship hummed with alien technology. The ship was called Sword of Dominion, and it was the pride of the Velkan fleet. 5 kilometers long, armed with weapons that could destroy planets, protected by shields that had never been breached. "Display the fleet formation," Thexara commanded. A 3-dimensional image appeared in the center of the bridge. It showed 200 Velkan ships arranged in a perfect sphere around one tiny human vessel. The difference in size was enormous. Each Velkan dreadnought was 3 times longer than the human ship. The cruisers were twice as large. Even the smallest Velkan destroyer was bigger than the enemy vessel. 50 dreadnoughts, Kexdan said proudly. 100 cruisers. 50 destroyers, the largest battle fleet ever assembled by the Empire. "And they face one primitive ship," Velmore added. "Their weapons are ballistic projectiles. Their hull has no energy shielding. Their technology is centuries behind ours." Sensor specialist Kextu approached the command group. He was older than the others, a veteran who had seen many battles. "Commander, I have completed detailed scans of the human vessel. The results are interesting." "Explain." "Their ship is smaller than we first estimated, only 180 meters long. Their crew appears to number fewer than 200 individuals, but their hull composition is unusual." "Unusual how?" "It appears to be some kind of layered armor system, multiple materials arranged in complex patterns." "I have never seen anything like it," Thexara waved dismissively. "Armor means nothing against our weapons. Continue your report." "Yes, Commander. Their weapons appear to be railgun systems, electromagnetic accelerators that fire solid projectiles. Very primitive, but the power readings are surprisingly high." "How high?" "Higher than our records indicate is possible for such technology. If my readings are correct, they can accelerate projectiles to significant fractions of light speed." War leader Kexdan laughed. "Even if that is true, what can solid projectiles do against our shields?" Our energy barriers can deflect anything. That is what concerns me, Kextu said quietly. Our shields were designed to stop energy weapons, plasma beams, particle cannons, laser arrays. We have never tested them against high-velocity physical projectiles, because no intelligent species still uses such primitive weapons, Kextan replied. Fleet tactician Velmore studied the tactical display. Perhaps we should be more cautious. Unknown weapons can be unpredictable. Caution? Thexara's voice was sharp. We are the Velkan Empire. We have conquered 47 worlds. No single ship can threaten this fleet. On the Soul's Pride, the human crew made their final preparations. Captain Jiwon stood in the center of the bridge, watching his officers work. Each person moved with practiced efficiency, their training taking over despite the impossible odds. Donghyuk, reactor status? Jiwon asked. Running at 105% capacity, sir. All systems are stable. We have power to spare. Tai-hyung, weapon status? All. Railguns charged and loaded. Point defense systems online. Missile tubes ready. We have full ammunition loads. What's our effective range? Against targets this size, sir, we can hit them from here. Our targeting computers are locked onto their lead ships. Commander Sung-Yoon looked up from her tactical station. Captain, I've been analyzing their formation. It's strong, but it has weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? They're overconfident. Their ships are spread out to show their numbers, but that makes them harder to coordinate. And, sir, she paused. I don't think they understand our weapons. Explain. Their ships have energy shields, powerful ones, but energy shields work by deflecting charged particles and electromagnetic radiation. They don't stop solid matter. Are you saying our weapons might work better than expected? I'm saying their shields might be useless against us. Lieutenant Minho was monitoring alien communications. Captain, they're discussing attack plans. The translation computer is getting better at their language. What are they saying? They plan to disable our engines first, then use boarding parties to capture the ship. They want prisoners to study. They think this will be easy, Navigator Hoseok said. Good, Jiwon replied. Let them think that. Systems specialist Jungkook had been running detailed scans of the alien fleet. Captain, I have tactical data on their ships. Go ahead. Their dreadnoughts carry massive energy weapons. Plasma cannons, particle beams, some kind of exotic matter projectors. Very powerful, but they all require direct line of sight. What about their defenses? Energy shields, as Commander Seung-Yun said. But there's something else. Their ships are heavily armored, but the armor appears to be designed to absorb energy attacks. It might not be effective against kinetic weapons. Why would they design their armor that way? Because every species they've fought uses energy weapons, sir. They've probably never faced kinetic attacks before. Weapons Officer Tae-hyung smiled, grimly. Then they're in for a surprise. On the alien flagship, Thexara was growing impatient. Enough analysis. Order the fleet to attack positions. We will disable their ship and end this foolishness. Commander, Kextu said urgently, I strongly recommend we proceed with caution. There are too many unknowns. The only unknown is how quickly they will surrender, Kextan replied. I estimate less than 1 minute of combat, Velmore agreed. Our weapons will overwhelm them instantly. They cannot possibly survive concentrated fire from 200 ships. Thexara nodded. Signal the fleet. Attack formation. Target their engines first. I want that ship captured intact. Across the alien fleet, massive warships began to move. Weapon systems powered up with ominous hums. Energy shields flickered brighter. The space around the human ship filled with the glow of alien technology preparing for war. "Sir," Communications Officer Yuna said, "I'm detecting massive energy buildups across their fleet. They're preparing to fire." "Time to make our move," Jiwan said. He pressed the ship-wide communication button. "All hands, this is the captain. In 30 seconds, we will engage a hostile alien fleet. Remember your training. Trust your equipment. Trust each other. Earth is counting on us." He released the button and looked at his crew. "Seong-yun, activate all defense systems. Ho-seok, prepare for emergency acceleration on my command. Tae-hyung, target their largest ships first." "Which ships, sir?" Tae-hyung asked. "The ones that look most dangerous." "Sir, they all look dangerous." "Then target them all." Engineer Dong-yuk's voice came through the communications. "Captain, I'm reading massive gravitational distortions from their fleet. Whatever they're powering up, it's huge. Can our ship handle it?" "The ship can handle anything, sir. I'm not sure about the crew." "The crew will do their job," Ji-won said firmly. "We always do." On the alien flagship, final preparations were complete. Thexara stood at his command station, looking at the tiny human ship on his display. Soon it would be over. Another species would join the Velkan Empire, willingly or not. "All ships report ready, Commander," Kex-Dan announced. "Weapons charged and locked onto target," reported the weapons officer. "Boarding parties standing by," added Velmore. Thexara raised one of his 4 arms. Around him, his bridge crew waited for the signal. Across the fleet, 200 alien warships prepared to fire. "For the glory of the Empire," Thexara said. "Attack!" The space around the Soul's Pride lit up like a star. 200 alien ships fired their weapons at once. Energy beams, plasma bolts, and exotic matter streams converged on the small human vessel. But the humans were ready. Captain Jiwan's voice rang out across the bridge. "Now! All engines! Maximum acceleration! Tae-hyung, return fire! Show them what Earth's weapons can do!" The Soul's Pride shot forward like a bullet, its engines pushing the crew deep into their seats. Behind them, the space where they had been exploded with alien weapons fire. The real battle was about to begin. The Soul's Pride accelerated faster than any ship the Valkans had ever seen. The small human vessel shot forward like a rocket, moving at speeds that should have crushed its crew into paste. Behind it, the space where it had been moments before exploded with alien weapons fire. "Impossible!" War Leader Kex-Dan shouted on the alien flagship. "No organic crew can survive that acceleration." Fleet Commander Thexara watched his display in shock. The human ship was moving at 12 times standard acceleration. Any normal crew would be dead from the force alone. "How are they still alive?" he demanded. Sensor Specialist Kex-2 worked frantically at his controls. "Unknown, Commander. Their ship's internal systems are shielded from our scans, but somehow they are not only surviving, they are fighting back." On the Soul's Pride, the crew was pressed deep into their acceleration chairs. The ship's inertial dampeners worked at maximum power, but the forces were still enormous. Captain Jiwan felt like he weighed 1,000 pounds. "Status report," he managed to say through gritted teeth. "Engines at 120% capacity," Engineer Dong-yuk reported, his voice strained. "Hull stress is within acceptable limits. We can maintain this speed for another 2 minutes." "Weapon systems operational," Weapons Officer Tae-hyung said. "Targeting computers are locked onto enemy vessels, ready to fire on your command." "Do it!" The Soul's Pride's main railgun fired. A tungsten rod weighing 50 kilograms shot out of the ship at 15% of light speed. The projectile was invisible to the naked eye, moving too fast to track. It hit the Vulcan cruiser Death's Edge exactly where Tae-hyung had aimed, directly at the bridge. The alien ship's energy shields flickered for a split second, then failed completely. The tungsten rod punched through the hull like it was made of paper. The alien cruiser exploded from the inside out. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull as internal systems overloaded. Within seconds, the massive ship was an expanding ball of debris and plasma. "What just happened?" Thexara roared. "The cruiser Death's Edge has been destroyed, Commander," Kextu reported, his voice shaking. "One shot. Complete destruction." "That's impossible. Their weapons are primitive." "Commander, I'm reading projectile velocities of over 45,000 kilometers per second. Our shields cannot deflect solid matter at those speeds." Fleet Tactician Velmore stared at his tactical display. "Commander, we have a serious problem. Their weapons are specifically designed to defeat our defensive systems." The Soul's Pride fired again. And again. Each shot was perfectly aimed. Each shot destroyed an alien vessel completely. The tungsten rods hit with the force of nuclear weapons, but they were precise. Surgical strikes that left no radiation, no lingering effects. Just death. 6 ships destroyed, Lieutenant Minho reported. 7, 8. How are they targeting so accurately while moving so fast? Commander Sung-yun asked. "Advanced fire control computers," System Specialist Jungkook replied. "Our targeting system can track multiple targets and calculate firing solutions even during extreme acceleration." "That's what years of human warfare teaches you," Captain Ji-won said grimly. "We've been fighting each other for thousands of years. We know how to build weapons that kill efficiently." The alien fleet was in chaos. Ships scattered in all directions, trying to avoid the deadly accurate fire from the small human vessel. But the Soul's Pride was too fast, too maneuverable. It darted between the massive alien ships like a fighter plane among bombers. "They're breaking formation," Navigator Hoseok reported. "Their coordination is falling apart." "Good. Tae-hyung, switch to cluster munitions. Let's see how they handle multiple targets." The Soul's Pride fired a different type of projectile. This one separated into hundreds of smaller tungsten fragments, each moving at tremendous speed. The cluster round hit a group of 3 alien destroyers. The fragments punched through their hulls like a shotgun blast. The alien ship's armor, designed to absorb energy weapons, provided no protection against high-velocity solid projectiles. All 3 ships were destroyed instantly. 11 ships down, Minho reported. 12, 13. On the alien flagship, panic was spreading. Officers shouted reports and orders. Warning alarms filled the air. The bridge was chaos. "Commander," the weapons officer called out. "Our energy weapons cannot track the human ship. It's moving too fast and changing direction too quickly." "Then use area weapons. Saturate the entire region with fire." "We risk hitting our own ships, Commander." "I don't care. Destroy that ship." The alien fleet opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams filled space in all directions. Plasma bolts created a deadly web of destruction. Exotic matter weapons distorted space itself. But the Soul's Pride was no longer where they were aiming. The human ship moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen, changing direction instantly, accelerating and decelerating at impossible rates. "How are they doing this?" Velmore demanded. "Their propulsion system is unlike anything in our databases," Kextu reported. "It appears to manipulate gravitational fields directly. They can change vector without regard to momentum." "Gravity drive," War leader Kexadan whispered. Theoretical technology. No species has ever successfully built one. The humans have, Thexara said grimly. The Soul's Pride continued its deadly dance through the alien fleet. Every few seconds, another alien ship died. The human weapons were precise, efficient, and utterly devastating. 15 ships destroyed. Communications, Officer Yuna reported. 16, 17. Sir, Taehyung said, I'm running low on standard ammunition. Should I load the experimental rounds? Do it, Ji-won ordered. Let's see what Earth's newest weapons can do. The experimental rounds were different, larger, more complex with built-in guidance systems and shaped charges designed to maximize damage. When the first one hit an alien dreadnought, the result was spectacular. The projectile penetrated deep into the ship's hull before exploding. The shaped charge created a stream of molten metal that cut through the alien vessel like a sword. The massive dreadnought broke in half, both pieces exploding as their reactors overloaded. My God, Engineer Dongyuk breathed. Did you see that? 18 ships down, Minho reported. 19. 20. The alien fleet was in full retreat now. Ships that had approached confidently were now fleeing in terror. But space was vast, and the human ship was faster than anything they had. Commander, Kextan shouted, we have lost 20 ships in less than 3 minutes. We must withdraw. No, Thexara roared. The Velkan Empire does not retreat. All ships focus fire on the human vessel. Ignore your own safety. Destroy them. But the alien commanders were no longer listening. They had seen enough. Ship after ship turned away from the battle, their captains deciding that survival was more important than orders. The Soul's Pride pursued them relentlessly. Each fleeing ship was another target. Each target was another victory for humanity. 25 ships destroyed, Yuna reported. 26. 27. Captain, Shungyun said. They're trying to escape. Should we let them go? No, Ji-won replied coldly. They came here to conquer us. They threatened Earth. They chose this fight. But, sir, if we let some escape, they can warn their empire about our capabilities. Good. Let them warn their empire. Let them tell their leaders what happens when you threaten humanity. The Soul's Pride fired again. Another alien ship died. And another. The massacre continued. On the alien flagship, Thexara finally understood the truth. His empire had made a terrible mistake. They had not encountered a primitive species. They had found the galaxy's most dangerous predators. Order all ships to retreat, he said quietly. Full speed. Get us away from them. Sir? Kextan asked. You heard me. Retreat, now, before they kill us all. The Sword of Dominion turned away from the battle and began to flee. Around it, the surviving ships of the Velkan fleet followed. They ran from one small human ship like prey fleeing from a hunter. But Captain Ji-won was not finished with them yet. The Soul's Pride moved through space like a deadly shadow, hunting the fleeing alien ships. What had looked like a primitive vessel was revealing itself to be something far more dangerous. Captain Ji-won watched the tactical display as his ship closed in on another group of enemy vessels. Taehyung, target the 3 cruisers on the left, he ordered. Locked on, sir. Firing. 3 tungsten penetrator rounds shot out from the human ship. Each projectile weighed only 50 kilograms, but they carried the kinetic energy of nuclear weapons. They crossed the distance to their targets in less than a second. The first alien cruiser, Blade of Conquest, had its shields at maximum power. The energy barrier could deflect any energy weapon the Vulcans had ever faced. But when the tungsten rod hit at 15% of light speed, the shield simply wasn't there anymore. The projectile punched through the hull like it was made of soft metal. It penetrated deep into the ship's core before its kinetic energy finally transferred to the surrounding structure. The alien cruiser exploded from the inside out, its hull peeling away like flower petals. The second and third ships died the same way. 3 more enemy vessels became expanding clouds of debris and superheated gas. 30 ships destroyed, Lieutenant Minho reported. 31, 32. On the alien flagship Sword of Dominion, Fleet Commander Thexara stared at his tactical display in horror. Each red dot that disappeared represented hundreds of his warriors. Ships that had taken years to build were being destroyed in seconds. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "One ship against our entire fleet!" Sensor specialist Kextu worked frantically at his controls, trying to understand what they were facing. "Commander, I have been analyzing their ship during the battle. What we are seeing is not what we thought." "Explain." "Their vessel appears primitive on the surface, but underneath it is extremely advanced. Their hull is not simple metal. It is some kind of composite armor with multiple layers. Their weapons are not crude ballistics. They are electromagnetic accelerators of incredible power." "What about their propulsion system?" "That is the most advanced part, Commander. They are using gravity manipulation technology. They can change direction instantly without regard to momentum or inertia. No wonder they can move so fast while keeping their crew alive." War Leader Kexdan listened to this report with growing dread. "You're saying their ship is more advanced than ours?" "In every way that matters for combat, yes. Their weapons, their engines, their tactical systems, all superior to our technology. But they look so primitive. That appears to be deliberate." "Sir, camouflage. They wanted us to underestimate them." On the Soul's Pride, Engineer Dongyuk monitored the ship's systems with pride. Everything was working perfectly. The human ship had been designed for exactly this kind of fight. "Captain," he reported, "all systems running at peak efficiency. The gravity drive is performing better than expected. We can maintain these acceleration levels for hours if needed." "What about the weapons?" Captain Jiwan asked. "Railguns are cycling perfectly. We have plenty of ammunition. The new experimental rounds are working even better than the old ones." Weapons Officer Taehyung smiled grimly as he targeted another alien ship. "Sir, these tungsten penetrators are devastating their hulls. Their armor is useless against us." "Why is that?" Jiwan asked. "Because they designed their defenses to fight energy weapons," Commander Sunghyun explained. "Energy shields, ablative, armor, heat dissipation systems. But kinetic weapons work completely differently." Systems Specialist Jungkook nodded. "A tungsten rod moving at relativistic speeds has enormous kinetic energy. When it hits, all that energy has to go somewhere. It turns into heat, pressure waves, and mechanical stress. No material can withstand that kind of impact." "And their ships are big," Navigator Hoseok added. "Big targets are easy to hit, especially with our targeting computers." "Human military doctrine," Jiwan said. "Speed, precision, overwhelming firepower. We learned to fight by fighting each other for thousands of years." The Soul's Pride caught up with another group of fleeing alien ships. These were destroyers, smaller and faster than the cruisers, but still massive compared to the human vessel. "5 destroyers ahead," Minho reported. "They're trying to escape." "Not today," Jiwan said. "Taehyung, switch to cluster rounds. Let's see how many we can get with one shot. The cluster round separated into hundreds of smaller tungsten fragments as it approached the alien formation. The fragments spread out like a deadly cloud, each piece moving at tremendous speed. The alien destroyers had no chance. The fragments tore through their hulls like paper. Secondary explosions rippled through their ships as critical systems were destroyed. All 5 vessels died within seconds of each other. 37 ships destroyed, Una reported. 38, 39, 40, 41. The battle had lasted less than 5 minutes, and the Soul's Pride had destroyed more than 40 alien vessels without taking any damage. The human ship's armor had been hit by several energy beams, but the advanced composite materials had absorbed the attacks easily. Captain, Sung-Yun said, I'm detecting something interesting about their energy weapons. What is it? They're designed to overload energy shields and melt armor. Very effective against their own technology, but our armor is different. How different? Our composite armor is designed to disperse kinetic energy, not absorb heat. Their energy weapons actually make our armor stronger by creating temporary crystalline structures in the material. Ji-Wan laughed. So, their weapons make us harder to kill? In a way, yes, sir. The Soul's Pride continued its pursuit of the alien fleet. The human ship was faster, more maneuverable, and deadlier than anything the Vulcans had ever faced. Each engagement ended the same way. More alien ships destroyed, the human vessel unharmed. 50 ships destroyed, Minho reported. The remaining fleet is scattering in all directions. Let them run, Ji-Wan said. We've made our point. But even as he said it, the Soul's Pride locked onto another target. An alien dreadnought that had been trying to hide behind a larger ship. The massive vessel was nearly 5 kilometers long, covered with weapons and armor. That's their flagship, Sung-Yun said, the biggest ship in their fleet. Tae-Hyung, load. One of the experimental rounds. Let's give them something to remember us by. The experimental penetrator was the most advanced weapon in Earth's arsenal. It had guidance systems, shaped charges, and a tungsten core surrounded by depleted uranium. When it hit the alien flagship, the result was catastrophic. The projectile punched through the ship's hull and penetrated deep into its core before detonating. The shaped charge created a jet of molten metal that cut through the vessel like a laser. The dreadnought's massive reactor containment failed and the ship vanished in a miniature star. My God, Engineer Dong-Hyuk whispered. Did we just destroy their command ship? Negative, Communications Officer Una said. I'm still detecting. Command transmissions from another vessel. But, sir, listen to this. She put the alien communications on speaker. The translation computer had learned enough of their language to provide rough translations. All ships retreat immediately. Unknown weapons. Cannot defeat them. Warn the Empire. Humans are not what they appear. They're terrified, Hoseok said. Good, Ji-Won replied. Fear will keep them from coming back. The Soul's Pride had revealed the truth about human technology. What looked primitive was actually highly advanced. What seemed simple was actually devastatingly effective. The aliens had made the mistake of judging humans by their appearance instead of their capabilities. Captain, Minho said, I'm detecting the surviving alien ships jumping to faster than light speeds. They're leaving the system. How many survivors? Approximately 150 ships, sir. We destroyed about 50 of them. A quarter of their fleet, Seung-Yoon said with satisfaction. And we're not even damaged, Tae-Hyung added. Captain Ji-Won looked at his crew with pride. They had faced impossible odds and won decisively. But more importantly, they had shown the Galaxy what humanity was capable of. Yuna, record a message for any alien vessel still in the area, he ordered. Ready to record, sir. This is Captain G1 of the Earth Defense Force. You came here believing humans were weak and primitive. You were wrong. Earth's weapons are designed by warriors, built by warriors, and operated by warriors. We do not seek conquest, but we will defend ourselves with overwhelming force. Take this message back to your empire. Stay away from human space, or face the consequences. The message was transmitted on all frequencies, in the alien language. The computer had learned. Any surviving Vulcan ships would hear it clearly. The Soul's Pride had won the battle, but Captain G1 knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy would soon learn what it meant to threaten humanity. The space around the Soul's Pride had become a graveyard. Debris from destroyed alien ships drifted in all directions, glowing with residual heat from the explosions. But the battle was far from over. More than half of the Vulcan fleet still survived, and they were regrouping for another attack. Captain, Lieutenant Minho reported, the enemy fleet is forming up again. It looks like they're preparing for a coordinated assault. Captain G1 studied the tactical display. The surviving alien ships had pulled back and were organizing into a new formation. This one was different from their first attack, tighter, more defensive. They're learning, Commander Seung-hyun observed. They know now that their original tactics don't work against us. What are they doing differently? Jawan asked. Smaller groups, closer together. They're trying to concentrate their fire while minimizing the targets we can hit with single shots. On the alien flagship Sword of Dominion, Fleet Commander Thexara was desperately trying to salvage the situation. Half his fleet was dead, destroyed by a single human ship. The pride of the Vulcan Empire was being humiliated by what they had thought was a primitive species. New battle plan, he announced to his remaining commanders. We group our ships into tight formations, overlapping shields, concentrated firepower. If we can hit that ship with enough energy at once, we can overwhelm their defenses, War Leader. Kextan, his confidence badly shaken, nodded agreement. What about their speed advantage? We'll use area weapons, plasma clouds, radiation bursts, gravity mines. Fill the space around them with destruction. They can't dodge everything. Commander, Sensor Specialist Kextu said urgently, I strongly advise against this approach. Their ship has capabilities we don't understand. We don't have a choice, Thexara roared. We cannot return to the Empire with news of this defeat. The High Command would execute us all. The remaining Vulcan ships moved into their new formation. 150 vessels arranged in tight clusters, each group supporting the others. It looked like a solid wall of alien firepower. Here they come, Navigator Hosiok announced, on the Soul's Pride. New formation, new tactics. Tai Hyung, what's your assessment? Ji-won asked. They're trying to make themselves harder to target by bunching up, Weapons Officer Tae-hyung replied. But that also makes them easier to hit with area weapons. Area weapons? Cluster rounds, sir. If they want to stay close together, we can kill multiple ships with each shot. Do it. The Soul's Pride fired a salvo of cluster rounds at the approaching alien formation. Each projectile separated into hundreds of smaller tungsten fragments, creating deadly clouds of high-velocity metal. The first alien group had no chance. 20 ships were torn apart by the fragment clouds. Their hulls were shredded, their reactors breached, their crews killed instantly. The tight formation that was supposed to protect them instead ensured that all ships in the group were destroyed together. 70 ships down, Minho reported. 75, 80. The second alien group suffered the same fate, then the third. The human cluster rounds were devastatingly effective against grouped targets. The aliens' new tactics were working against them. This is impossible, Thexara screamed on his flagship. How can one ship destroy so many? Their weapons are designed for this kind of combat, Kex2 replied. Multiple target engagement, area saturation, overlapping fields of fire. This is military technology developed by a warrior species. All species are warriors when they need to be. No, Commander. Most species develop weapons as tools of last resort. These humans have made warfare into a science. Every aspect of their ship is optimized for killing enemies efficiently. The Soul's Pride continued its deadly work. The human ship moved through the alien formation like a shark among fish, its weapons firing continuously. Each shot was perfectly aimed, each target carefully chosen for maximum effect. 90 ships destroyed, Yuna reported. 100. 110. Engineer Dong Hyuk monitored the ship's systems with growing amazement. Captain, our weapons are performing beyond all specifications. The railguns are cycling faster than they should be able to. The targeting computers are tracking more targets simultaneously than we thought possible. Why is that? Ji-Wan asked. Combat stress testing, sir. Our systems were designed to handle the worst possible scenarios. This battle is actually easier than what they were built for. What were they built for? Fighting other human ships, sir. Ships that would have the same technology we do. The same speed, the same weapons. Alien ships are actually easier targets because they're larger and slower. Systems specialist Youngkook nodded. Human military doctrine assumes the enemy will be as smart, as fast, and as well armed as we are. These aliens are none of those things. They're brave, Commander Seung-hyun said, watching the tactical display. They keep coming even though they know they're going to die. Bravery without intelligence is just suicide, Ji-Wan replied coldly. The Soul's Pride engaged another group of alien ships. This time, the enemy tried a different approach, spreading out to minimize the effectiveness of cluster weapons. But that just made them easier targets for individual shots. Switch to standard penetrators, Ji-Wan ordered. Pick them off one by one. Taehyung's fingers danced over his controls. The ship's railguns fired in rapid sequence, each shot targeting a different enemy vessel. The tungsten rods crossed space at tremendous speed, each one finding its target with mechanical precision. Alien ship after alien ship exploded. The Velkan fleet was being systematically destroyed by superior technology and tactics. Their energy, weapons couldn't penetrate human armor. Their shields couldn't stop human projectiles. Their ships were too slow to escape and too large to hide. 120 ships destroyed, Minho announced. 130, 140. On the alien flagship, panic was spreading through the bridge. Officers shouted contradictory orders. Warning alarms filled the air. The deck shook, as nearby explosions sent shockwaves through space. "Commander," the communications officer called out, "I'm receiving surrender requests from several ship captains." "No surrender," Thexara roared. "The Velkan Empire does not surrender to primitives." "Commander," Kexdan said urgently, "we have lost most of our fleet. We must consider retreat." "There will be no retreat. All ships ram the human vessel. If we cannot destroy them with weapons, we will crush them with our hulls." It was a desperate order, born of pride and desperation. The surviving alien ships turned toward the Soul's Pride and accelerated to maximum speed. If they could not win with tactics, they would win with sacrifice. "Sir," Hosiok said urgently. 60-plus enemy ships are on collision courses. They're trying to ram us. Speed? Jiwan asked. Maximum for their technology. Still much slower than us. But if they hit us, they won't hit us. Dongyuk, emergency acceleration. Get us out of their path. Yes, sir. The Soul's Pride shot forward like a bullet, its gravity drive pushing the ship to speeds the aliens couldn't match. But the human captain had a better idea than simply running away. Taehyung, arm all remaining experimental rounds. Target the lead ships in their ramming formation. Sir, if we hit them head-on while they're accelerating, I know. Do it anyway. The experimental penetrator rounds met the charging alien ships head-on. The combined velocities, the ships moving forward, the projectiles moving toward them, created impacts of incredible violence. The alien vessels didn't just explode, they vaporized. The kinetic energy was so enormous that matter itself ceased to exist in any recognizable form. My God, Dongyuk whispered. Did you see that? The destruction was visible across the entire battlefield. Where proud alien warships had been moments before, there were now expanding spheres of plasma and exotic particles. The ramming attack had been turned into a mass suicide. 160 ships destroyed, Yuna reported, her voice filled with awe. 170, 180. The surviving alien ships, seeing the fate of their comrades, finally broke. Ship after ship turned away from the battle and fled at maximum speed. The disciplined Velkan fleet had become a mob of terrified survivors. But Captain Jiwan was not finished. The Soul's Pride pursued the fleeing enemies, picking them off one by one. Each escaping ship was another target. Each target was another victory for humanity. Why are we chasing them? Seungyeon asked. They're beaten. They're running. Because they came here to conquer Earth, Jiwan replied. They threatened human space. They chose this fight, and I'm going to finish it. The Soul's Pride continued its relentless pursuit. The human ship was faster than anything in the alien fleet, and its weapons had longer range. There was nowhere for the enemy to hide, nowhere to run. 190 ships destroyed, Minho reported. 195, 198. Only 2 alien ships remained, the flagship Sword of Dominion and 1 escort cruiser. They fled through space like prey animals, their proud formation broken, their confidence shattered. Sir, Taehyung said, we have enough ammunition to destroy the remaining ships. No, Jiwan said thoughtfully. Let them go. Sir, someone needs to tell their empire what happened here. Someone needs to carry the message back. Those 2 ships will do nicely. The Soul's Pride stopped its pursuit and watched the last 2 alien vessels escape into faster-than-light travel. The battle was over. The Velkan Third Exploration. Fleet Commander Thexara stood alone on the bridge of his flagship Sword of Dominion. Around him, the bodies of his bridge crew lay where they had fallen when the last ramming attack failed. The ship's systems sparked and smoked from damage caused by nearby explosions. Through the main view screen, he could see the small human ship in the distance. It hung motionless in space, surrounded by the debris of his fleet. 198 Velkan warships had been destroyed. Only his flagship and 1 escort cruiser remained. How? He whispered to himself. How did this happen? On the Soul's Pride, Captain Jiwan was asking his crew the same question, but for different reasons. Casualty report, he ordered. 3. Crew members with minor injuries from high acceleration, Engineer Dong-hyuk reported. No serious damage to any personnel. Ship status? Minor hull scoring from energy weapon hits. All systems operating at full capacity. We could fight another battle right now if needed. Lieutenant Minho looked up from his sensor station. Captain, I'm detecting 2 surviving alien ships. They're not moving, just sitting there. Are they damaged? Unknown, sir. Their energy signatures are low, but their ships appear intact. Commander Seong-yun studied the tactical display thoughtfully. They might be in shock. Their entire fleet was just destroyed by one ship. That has to be hard to process. Should we finish them off? Weapons Officer Tae-hyung asked. Not yet, Ji-won said. Let's see what they do. On the alien flagship, Thexara slowly made his way to the communications station. His 4 arms moved stiffly, as if he had aged years in the last few minutes. The proud commander who had approached human space with confidence was now a broken figure. He activated the ship's long-range transmitter and began composing a message to the Velkin High Command. How could he explain this disaster? How could he tell them that their mighty 3rd exploration fleet had been destroyed by a single primitive vessel? High Command, this is Fleet Commander Thexara. He spoke into the transmitter. The 3rd exploration fleet has encountered unexpected resistance. We have suffered severe casualties and are withdrawing from this sector. He paused, staring at the human ship on his screen. That small vessel had done the impossible. It had defeated an entire battle fleet using weapons that shouldn't have worked and tactics that defied understanding. The species we encountered calls themselves humans, he continued. They are not what they appear to be. Repeat. They are not what they appear to be. Their technology is far more advanced than our initial assessment indicated. Their military capabilities are exceptional. Thexara's voice broke slightly as he spoke the next words. Recommend immediate reclassification of human space as hostile territory. Do not approach, do not engage. They are not prey. They are hunters. On the Soul's Pride, Communications Officer Yuna was monitoring the alien. Transmission. Captain, I'm intercepting a message from the enemy flagship. They're communicating with their home base. Can you translate it? Most of it, sir. They're reporting their defeat and warning their empire about our capabilities. Good. What else are they saying? They're calling us hunters, sir. And they're recommending that their empire avoid human space completely. Captain Ji-won smiled grimly. Excellent. That's exactly the message I want them to send. Systems Specialist Jungkook had been analyzing the battle data during the brief pause in combat. Captain, I've been reviewing our performance statistics. The results are remarkable. How so? We destroyed 198 enemy vessels in 8 minutes and 12 seconds. That's an average of 1 ship every 2.5 seconds. Our weapons efficiency was 99.2%. Almost every shot was a kill. What about ammunition expenditure? We used only 30% of our total ammunition load, sir. We could have fought 2 more battles this size without resupplying. Navigator Hoseok looked up from his navigation display. Captain, I've been plotting the enemy survivors' course. They're heading directly away from human space at maximum speed. Running home to warn their empire, Ji-won said with satisfaction. The alien flagship sensor specialist, Kex-2, approached his commander. The old veteran had survived by taking shelter in an armored compartment when the bridge was damaged. Commander, he said quietly, I have completed my analysis of the human vessel. Thexara turned to look at him with haunted eyes. What did you learn? Everything we thought we knew about them was wrong, sir. Their ship appears primitive because they designed it to look that way. Underneath the simple exterior is technology centuries ahead of our own. Explain. Their weapons use electromagnetic acceleration to fire solid projectiles at relativistic speeds. The kinetic energy is enormous. Each shot hits with the force of a nuclear weapon, but there's no radiation, no heat signature, no energy trail to track. What about their defenses? Layered composite armor designed to absorb and disperse kinetic impacts. Their hull can withstand direct hits from our most powerful weapons. And their propulsion system... Kextu paused, shaking his head in amazement. Their propulsion system? Gravity manipulation, sir. They can change direction instantly without regard to momentum. They can accelerate at rates that should kill any organic crew, but somehow they survive. Thexara listened to this report with growing despair. Are you saying we never had a chance? No, sir. We never had a chance. This was not a battle. It was an execution. They played with us, sir. They could have destroyed our entire fleet in the first minute if they had chosen to. Then why didn't they? I believe they wanted to study our tactics, sir. They let us attack first to see what we could do. When they learned enough, they ended the fight. On the Soul's Pride, Captain Jiwon was receiving similar reports from his crew. Sir, Engineer Dong Hyuk said, I've been analyzing our ship's performance during the battle. We never came close to our operational limits. What do you mean? We used about 20% of our maximum engine power, 30% of our weapons capacity, and 15% of our defensive capabilities. We could have fought much harder if we needed to. Commander Sung-hyun nodded. The captain held us back, sir. We followed standard Earth Defense Force doctrine. Use minimum force necessary to achieve objectives. Why hold back against such a large enemy force? Lieutenant Minho asked. Because we didn't need to use more, Jiwon replied. And because I wanted them to underestimate human capabilities. Sir, if we had destroyed their entire fleet instantly, they might have thought we used some kind of superweapon. By fighting a longer battle, we showed them that this is normal human military capability. One standard patrol ship with a standard crew. That's terrifying, sir, Yuna said quietly. Good. Fear will keep them away from Earth. The two surviving alien ships finally began to move. Slowly, carefully, they turned away from the Soul's Pride and activated their faster-than-light drives. Within moments, they had vanished into hyperspace, carrying news of their defeat back to the Velkin Empire. Should we pursue them? Tai-hyung asked. No, Jiwon said. Let them go. They have work to do. Work? They're going to tell their empire. What happened here? They're going to describe human weapons, human tactics, human capabilities. Word will spread, other species will hear the story, and they'll all learn the same lesson. Which is? Don't threaten humanity. The Soul's Pride began collecting sensor data from the battlefield. The debris field contained valuable intelligence about alien technology and ship design. This information would be useful for future encounters. Captain, Minho said, I'm detecting something interesting in the wreckage. What is it? Escape. Pods, sir. Several dozen of them. Alien survivors. Jiwon considered this. The escape pods contained enemy personnel, possibly including officers with valuable intelligence. But they also contained living beings who had survived the battle. Bring them aboard, he ordered. Medical team to the shuttle bay. Treat any injuries, then prepare them for questioning. Sir? Sung-hyun asked. Are we taking prisoners? We're saving lives, Jiwon corrected. These beings attacked us, but they're defeated now. Killing helpless survivors serves no purpose. What will we do with them? Question them, learn about their empire, then send them home with the same message their ships are carrying. Earth is not to be threatened. The soul's pride began the process of recovering alien survivors. It was a strange end to a devastating battle, the victorious human crew rescuing the enemies they had just defeated. But it was also a demonstration of something the aliens had not expected to find in humanity: mercy for the defeated. The soul's pride floated quietly in space, surrounded by the debris of what had once been the Velkan Empire's third exploration fleet. Captain Ji-Won stood on his bridge, looking at the tactical display that showed the aftermath of the battle. Red markers indicated the locations where alien ships had been destroyed. There were 198 of them. "Final casualty report," he requested. 3 crew members with minor injuries from high acceleration," Engineer Dong-hyuk reported. "All have been treated and returned to duty. No fatalities. Ship damage? Minor scoring on the outer hull from energy weapon impacts. No structural damage. All systems operating at full capacity. Ammunition status? 70% remaining, sir," Weapons Officer Tae-hyung reported. "We could fight another battle this size without resupplying." Captain Ji-Won nodded with satisfaction. In 8 minutes of combat, his ship had destroyed almost an entire alien fleet while suffering essentially no damage. It was a perfect demonstration of human military capability. "Sir," Communications Officer Yuna said, "we've recovered 43 alien survivors from escape pods. Medical team reports they are being treated for various injuries. None are in critical condition. Any officers among them?" "Yes, sir, including several ship captains and a fleet tactical specialist." "Good. We'll need to question them before we send them home." Lieutenant Minho looked up from his sensor station. "Captain, I'm detecting faster-than-light signatures, the 2 surviving. Enemy ships have jumped to hyperspace. Course? Directly toward Velkan space, sir. Maximum speed. How long until they reach their home territory?" Systems Specialist Youngkook calculated quickly. "Based on their technology level, approximately 6 weeks, sir." 6 weeks, Ji-Won mused. "That gives us time to prepare our report for Earth Command." Commander Sung-Yun approached the captain's chair. "Sir, what kind of report will we be filing?" "This engagement was unusual." "Unusual how?" "We just defeated an invasion fleet of 200 ships with 1 destroyer. Earth Command is going to have questions." Ji-Won smiled. "I'm sure they will. But our mission was successful. We protected human space from foreign invasion. We demonstrated Earth's defensive capabilities, and we sent a clear message to any other species that might be considering aggressive action." "What message is that?" "Don't threaten humanity." In the ship's medical bay, Dr. Minji was treating the alien survivors. The Valkans were humanoid but taller than humans, with 4 arms and skin that looked like dark metal. Their injuries were mostly from shock and acceleration trauma when their ships were destroyed. "How are our guests doing?" Captain Ji-Won asked as he entered the medical bay. "Physically, they're recovering well," Dr. Minji replied. "Psychologically, they're in shock. I don't think they understand what happened to them." Ji-Won approached. One of the alien captives, a ship captain named Vextar, who had been commanding a cruiser before it was destroyed. "Captain Vextar," Ji-Won said through the translation device. "I am Captain Ji-Won of the Earth Defense Force. How are you feeling?" The alien looked up with 4 dark eyes filled with confusion and fear. You destroyed my ship, my crew. Why am I alive?" "Because you are no longer a threat," Ji-Won replied simply. "We rescue survivors when the battle is over. It is our way." "Your way?" Vextar struggled to understand. We came to conquer your species. We threatened your territory. Why show mercy? Because the fight is finished. You are defeated. Killing helpless prisoners serves no purpose. The alien captain stared at him in amazement. In all the worlds we have conquered, no species has ever shown mercy to defeated enemies. You are different. Yes, we are. Later, in the ship's conference room, Captain Jiwon met with the senior alien prisoners. The room was guarded, but the atmosphere was more like a diplomatic meeting than an interrogation. I want to understand what happened here, Jiwon began. Your fleet was confident when you approached our ship. You believed you would win easily. Why? Fleet tactician Velimore, who had survived when his ship's bridge was destroyed, spoke carefully. We have conquered 47 species. None have ever resisted successfully. Your ship appeared primitive, outnumbered, helpless. What do you think now? Now I think we misunderstood everything about humanity. Explain. Your weapons, your ship, your tactics. They are designed by a warrior species. Every aspect of your technology is optimized for combat. We thought you were prey, but you are predators. Ship Captain Dex Ara, who had commanded one of the destroyed dreadnoughts, added, Your ship alone destroyed more vessels than entire planetary defense fleets have managed against us. How is this possible? Practice, Jiwon said simply. Humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We have fought each other with every weapon imaginable. We learned to build ships that could survive against other human ships. And human ships are the most dangerous vessels in the galaxy. As far as we know, the alien officers exchanged glances. This was information their empire needed to hear. What will you do with us? Velimore asked. You will be returned to your empire with a message, Jiwon replied. The same message your surviving ships are carrying. Earth claims this sector of space. Any further incursions will be met with total destruction. You would go to war with the entire Velkan Empire? If necessary. But I don't think it will be necessary. Your empire is intelligent. They will understand what happened here and make the logical choice. Which is, stay away from human space. Captain Jiwon returned to the bridge to dictate his report to Earth Command. This was going to be an interesting document to write. Personal. Log, Captain Jiwon, Soul's Pride, he began. We have successfully completed first contact with an alien species known as the Velkan Empire. Initial contact was hostile. The alien fleet, consisting of approximately 200 warships, demanded our immediate surrender and threatened to invade Earth territory. He paused, thinking about how to phrase the next part. Following standard Earth Defense Force protocols, we engaged the hostile fleet in combat. The engagement lasted 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Enemy casualties, 198 ships destroyed, estimated crew losses in excess of 50,000. Human casualties, 0 fatalities, 3 minor injuries. Sir, Yuna said, Earth Command is going to find that hard to believe. Then we'll send them the sensor recordings, Jiwon replied. The data doesn't lie. He continued his report. Analysis of the engagement reveals that human military technology is significantly superior to Velkan capabilities. Their energy weapons were ineffective against our armor. Their shields could not stop our kinetic projectiles. Their ships were too large and slow to compete with our maneuverability. Most importantly, he added, their tactics were designed for fighting species that use similar technology to their own. They were completely unprepared for human military doctrine. Navigator Hoseok looked up from his station. Sir, what is human military doctrine exactly? Speed, aggression, overwhelming firepower, and tactical flexibility, Jiwan replied. We hit hard, hit fast, and keep hitting until the enemy is defeated. We don't fight fair. We fight to win. And that's different from other species? Apparently. Most species seem to fight formal battles with similar weapons and tactics. They haven't had to deal with opponents who fight differently. Engineer Dong-hyuk joined the conversation. Sir, does this mean humans are naturally better at warfare than other species? Not naturally better, Jiwan corrected. We've just had more practice. Humans have been fighting each other for our entire history. We've tried every possible way to kill each other. That experience teaches you how to build effective weapons. Other species haven't had as much practice? Apparently not. The Vulcans have conquered 47 worlds, but it seems like they did it by intimidation rather than actual fighting. When they met real resistance, they didn't know how to handle it. The Soul's Pride continued collecting data from the battlefield. The information would be invaluable for future encounters with alien species. Earth needed to know what was out there and how dangerous it might be. Sir, Minho reported, I'm detecting several alien scout ships at the edge of the system. They're staying well back, but they're watching us. Probably allies of the Vulcans, Sung-hyun said. Or enemies who want to see what happened to the fleet. Either way, they're learning the same lesson, Jiwan said. Don't mess with humanity. 3 hours later, the alien prisoners were loaded onto a modified escape pod with enough supplies to reach Vulcan space. The pod's communication system had been programmed with Captain Jiwan's final message. To the leaders of the Vulcan Empire, the message began, your third exploration fleet entered human space with hostile intent. They demanded surrender and threatened invasion. We responded appropriately. Your fleet has been destroyed. Your survivors are being returned to you as an act of mercy. This is your only warning. Human space is now off-limits to all Vulcan vessels. Any future incursions will be met with immediate and total destruction. We do not seek war with your empire. We do not desire conquest or expansion, but we will defend ourselves with overwhelming force against any threat. Consider this demonstration of human military capability and make your decisions accordingly. This message is being transmitted on all frequencies. Other species in this region of space should take note. Earth is protected by